Hi. Hi there. I'm making another video of the fourth increment of the Austedo XR for tardive dyskinesia drug medicine that I started on September 5th, which is November 3rd, so it was about 60 days ago I started on this stuff. 6 milligrams, then 12, then 18, and now I'm on my third. Well, it's about 6 hours past my third daily dose of 24 milligrams now, and this is wonderful stuff. A designer drug to hold your fingers still, well, tardive dyskinesia is very horrible to have. I knew I had it in the 1970s, so I learned of it. I'd already had it. And it's a consequence of especially I should say, psychiatric antipsychotic medications, which were called neuroleptics in the 1970s. Typical neuroleptics. And we were waiting for atypical, which is the one difference that made the psychosis go away for me, was the atypical in 1994. So we're looking at 29 years ago, anniversary this time of year. In a few months, a couple of weeks, it'll be the anniversary that I've been restored to sanity on new generation, the atypical generation of antipsychotics, second generation in other words. But the first generation, especially chlorpromazine, was the first one to do. They knew to do this a dozen years later. So it's not a willful, intentional consequence of using these medications that they were invented to do this to a person. It's various drug groups. I haven't been able to isolate a list of all drug groups that can cause tardive dyskinesia, but there's more than antipsychotics that can do this. I was reading one legal paper for pharmaceutical legal firms, lawyers, pharmaceutical lawyers, how not to get sued or something over the tardive dyskinesia, and I have a friend, electronic friend, who exists in real time in his own world, but we communicate, and he said, yeah, he's a pharmaceutical quality control chemist, and he said, yeah, they're always watching in that line of work for tardive dyskinesia drugs. So it shows up later after they invent the drug. Years later, they find out it does this. So it's not intentional. There's no conspiracy. Okay, so it ain't there. The connection that you might have when you're psychotic and think you see some connection with this is psychosis is that way. It's described thoroughly in the way my mind was disarrayed with that thinking in my book entitled "In the Grip of Paranoid Schizophrenia." It's the third edition you want. That's the final edition. It was like two stories in one, for polished version by the newspaper editor, and second edition, but the content changed in the third edition for on the subject of schizophrenia, information only, not a second story being written into it the way it initially was. So anyways, those books are out there. So where are we at time? 1:57. That wasn't a gun joke. That was just time on the clock there. It wasn't no psychotic reference or connection either. I mean, some people, psychiatrists, love to read things into what you're thinking and doing and how your life is. They think they understand. They like to absorb your soul. They think they understand as you would understand yourself in your life. Psychiatrists. There's good people there, but there's some rotten ones too. I mean, some assholes, basically. Even these days, in practice yet. It's hard to believe. Abuse still goes on. Yeah, like the misuse of psychiatric drugs in institutions to silence people, keep them quiet, not just in mental institutions, but in geriatric nursing homes too. There's a lot of abuse that goes on in this country nobody wants to face or hear about. Tardive Dyskinesia is one thing, bad word that the American Psychiatric Association did not want you to hear, because there was no cure for it. It was the burning away of the extremities, the hands, the feet, the face, the head, or whatever, Is that why the hair disappeared too? No hair loss with antipsychotics? Because the nerves are burned away from the extremities. Okay, so you shake your fingers, shake and rattle like this. When you're not, it covers up the damage it does, though, as it does it. So as it does, you don't know you have it till you stop taking the drug and your fingers move by itself. It's a consequence of saying yes or agreeing to take antipsychotic medication. It's just that the older medication causes it to happen a lot worse than the newer medication causes a much slower pace of this erosion of nerves out of the extremities. I was testing my grip on the 18 milligram dose, and I knew I could make a fist now, but I never could when I was 17. I was put on these drugs, and it burned the nerves. Okay, so my hand is pretty steady now compared to other videos you might have seen me in, holding my hand up like that or like this. Where are we at here? I can feel the palms of my hand touching each other, the warmth of them. I couldn't feel that before. It's wonderful, amazing pharmacological medicine, cheap medical treatment. The drug for tardive dyskinesia. Tardive means showing up later, and dyskinesia means involuntary movements. So it's a bad neurological disease to have, condition I should say, because the consequence of taking antipsychotic medication, mainly. And don't forget about it before taking your medication if you hear this. I mean, talk to your doctor first. But because there's treatment for this now, this neurological condition, how does it render you? I couldn't feel the skin, surface of my skin like I can now on this medication. These nerves that were robbed from me when I was a young man at 17, not even a man yet, still a kid. And I was put on these drugs, and my nervous system was attacked from the peripheral of my fingertips inward, down my arm, up my arms, into my body, and part of my nerves were still there to make me move and function and still be a functioning, alive person. But the fine-tuning of those nerves to the skin surface, it was not intact anymore. And so you get misused expressions on your face, and I would call it, and so thus it went in the 1970s and on these drugs, and I knew I had this. I don't remember quite where exactly I learned of this. I'm thinking I was reading in a library somewhere for this as death reference on the Thorazine I was on, and I saw tardive dyskinesia as a side effect of. In those books, you'll see it for every antipsychotic listed probably as a side effect potential for this to occur. It was worse elsewhere. I read some research that since the 1970s on, until I forgot about it because I knew it was permanent and there was no cure. I never dreamed they would find a cure. It was another dream come true. One day that I needed side effect medication for drooling, and I was first good for that too, but that's what we tried a couple other things that didn't have bad side effects to themselves. The common drugs for that side effect, the antipsychotic medication, is drooling and things like that. So tremors, in your hands, like they had a couple of drugs they used over the decades that didn't work, had severe consequences. That artane, but it's been a whirlwind year earlier in the year. Getting through the year with these pharmaceutical chemicals that I have to live with, and you have to be responsible with them, and you have to know what you're doing to take what you're taking when. Took medication, I took medication. So you have to always be on time with it, or as close as you can. You can't let a substitute and slide go too far, or you'll have a problem with these kind of conditions. So the tardive dyskinesia. Yeah, my hand is a lot steadier now. I think 24 milligram dose is going to be fine. Because I'll tell you why. Because I was inside the computer, actually, with this screwdriver, this little screwdriver here. I was inside the computer on the motherboard with this earlier this evening, and I was doing fine. A steady hand as compared to shaking previously. Because of the increase to 24 milligrams for the third daily dose, and then after that I was doing this, and it's an amazing. But it's like well, when your nerves are burned out of there, it's from your touch, your tactile sense. I mean, you just be serving with your skin. And when I turn back on by this Austedo, for instance, whatever kind of generic name it is, or whatever chemical it is, but there's still going to be movements like you're seeing there. I'm seeing them from my end, but it's not. I think I can live with this because I can hold a screwdriver in the motherboard, and I didn't have a problem. I did before, so. And I read somewhere a couple of weekends ago that it's titrate, which means adjust to the right dosage for what it's for, from 6 milligrams to 12 to 24, and stay there. Now, initially, though, I read, when I looked at this data on this new drug they started me on, I agreed to start on, I saw that most people were titrated, it said at 36 milligrams. So then later, it was the last couple of weekends ago, then a couple months and a half later, I read it that it's 24 milligrams. So you have to judge for yourself and how the effects you have. But the one thing I wanted to not forget to mention too is, I was talking to the pharmacist this week, and we were talking about this Austedo drug, and I'm wanting the 24 milligram tablets, and he said, "Do you know what those cost?" And I said, "No, I have no idea. No idea what they cost." He said for 1 month supply, 30 days worth, 30 tablets of the 24 milligram of this drug I'm taking actually cost $6,600. Some of the drugs I've taken have been expensive, but nowhere near that expensive. But considering the damage and the magical wizardry of the pharmacological science behind it, how the hell could they turn nerves on that have been burned away? Basically, is the nature of the question. It's a magical science of pharmacology. That's all I can say. Magical science of pharmacology. And praise God for the doctors and scientists who are involved in that to accomplish these great wonders for me. It's like when you take this, you feel the tips of your fingers. You feel the nerves start to connect back up again, with each titrating dose upwards, and until it comes down so far on your arm, like maybe 4.5 days. Here it came down with the second dose, 12 milligrams, 80 milligrams came down, gave me a grip to my knuckles, but now I have the fingers grip inside the knuckles I didn't have before. There's more nerves turned on there again. Yeah, again, how do they do this? It's magic. It's magic. I swear it has to be magic or a miracle of God or something. But these nerves were robbed from me when I was young, from being able to be used as an active neurological imprint or function, in active neurological function or imprint or function, active function. But when you function ability, when you do things, move around, you live your life, we rely on nerves from our nervous system to connect our brain to our body to do what we want to do. And this burns those nerves away, control nerves away from the way you have involuntary movements. So now there's a treatment for it, and the magical science behind it just costs that much. I don't feel bad about accepting that as treatment, because I knew I was done wrong by the fact that those early drugs did that to me, and I lived with it and forgot about it because of an apathy, an acquiescence and apathy that there would ever be a cure for it, or a treatment for it. It's not like a cure, I guess. You have to take the drug, it'll come back, go back to being withered away. Like, even in my hands, look, don't look as old as they did. I have an idiot on the videos. They look old. I don't realize my hands do, but I would see an age that I never treat possible. But my hand is steady now, as you can see. So I say the titrated dose is 24 milligrams for me, like I was reading a couple of weekends ago. And so what I do now, I just enjoy the fact that my neurology is intact again for once in my adult life. At the age of 65, finally I'm neurologically intact as an adult, which means I can make a fist now if I want to, you know, and pop you up there, you fucking crazy psychiatrist who feed you drugs, tie you down, inject you. Fuck you people. Have a nice day, everybody else. Go back to school and learn some compassion, you fucking moron, doctors. Some of you are psychiatrists, MDs, that, and it's crazy what goes on. I could go on for a while, but this video is 60 minutes, 30 seconds long now. So, $6,600 for a month for this drug. It's crazy. I wonder what the price will go down to when it goes generic. And I explained in another video how the pricing went on the early antipsychotic I was on. Out from $300 to like $800 20 years later before it rates 17 whenever it goes generic. And then it went to $88. It's crazy. It's just crazy. This pharmacological big pharma industry we talk about. All into the aspect story there on this one. Have a good day. Night wherever you're at in your world. Peace and love. Bye now. Bye now. Peace.